Guys, guess what? HomeNet is here.
HomeNet is here.
HomeNet is here.
HomeNet is here.
Hey, hello everyone. I have good news for you. I just want to tell you that HomeNet is here to stay.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm super excited as always to come your way again this Saturday. And I am your favorite host, I believe, Dr. Benita Jiman Prempe, and I'm so excited and happy. You know our slogan as always, we are excited anytime we get to meet on the Holistic Medic series, which is an initiative of the Holistic Medic Network. Today is going to be a beautiful discussion, and we started this discussion right from last 2 weeks, right? The whole month of March has been dedicated to purpose alignment. We are of one mission, and you all know that for Holistic Medic Network, our mission is one, that we want to help health professionals and students in the health space to live a holistic and a well-balanced life, finding their purpose and living their purpose. So you can call this month our month, because we are actually diving and going deeper into the conversation of purpose. So the whole conversation started 2 weeks ago, where we actually learned the basics and the fundamental principles of what purpose actually is and the practical steps we can take to be able to find our purpose. And if you are not in that conversation, you would want to rush to our YouTube page now and watch. We currently have over 100 views on just that event alone. And that must actually tell us that a lot of people come back later to watch our event, and we are super excited and thankful to all of you for making time to come out. Today, again, we have another meeting, and I know that you are going to love every bit of it. If you are streaming or you're joining us in from LinkedIn or from YouTube, I want you to drop a comment in the chat and let me know that you can all hear me before I bring out and unveil our amazing speakers. So if you can hear me loud and clear from YouTube, from LinkedIn, just drop a message and let's know that we are up to start our meeting for today. Yes. So just as you can see scrolling down on our banner, indeed, we are live on YouTube, right? Someone said YouTube is now becoming my second love. Yes, because so many amazing things are happening. There are a lot of people who are not yet used to the template or the interface on LinkedIn. And that was why we decided to be able to also stream these events directly on YouTube. And I must say, if you all, or some of you have seen on our post on LinkedIn or even on our WhatsApp statuses as well, we hit our 3,000 views on YouTube this week. And I'm so excited about that, to have 3,000 people watch our videos. It's super encouraging. I want to say thank you all so much for making time. And I know that it's not just the fact that you are joining in on the events, it's because you are learning something. Lives are being transformed. We had a beautiful testimony this week from one of us who shared one of the financial sessions we had and how it has greatly transformed his finances. We are here to make life better for you. We are here to make your life meaningful for you and for the people around you. So make sure that if you're hearing me, please share the event. It's time to share to the world. It's time to share to the world. Repost the event link on LinkedIn on your WhatsApp status ASAP. I want us to post it ASAP right now, no delays. Share it. There are so many people who come here again. I wish I was part of the live event so that I could share my ideas. Of course, you could always put it in the comments and we'll attend to them. But it's always nice to engage when the event is live. So please make sure that you share the event on LinkedIn and on your WhatsApp status so that others get to see it and get to benefit from this. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to introduce our speakers. Yeah, but before then, I have a very special message for all of you. I want you to know that the Holistic Medic Network, even though it's primarily or our focus is for health professionals and students in the health sector, if you would want to reach out to us and join our community page to be a part of the amazing things going on, you are warmly welcome. Because currently we have people from other walks of life all joining in to benefit from what is going on. some of these discussions we have are not specifically tailored to the health sector. We have other people coming in because this is purpose discovery. We all need to find our purpose, right? So we have other people coming in to join to learn. So make sure that if you want to be part of our community, all you have to do is just to fill our membership form. Simple as that, no cost, 0.00. You just have to fill our membership form and you'll be added to our WhatsApp page. The reason why we are collating the details of our members is to be able to follow up on them, to be able to check up on them. We have 8 coordinators on standby whose work is to make sure that the welfare of our members are all holistic, as our name implies. So make sure that if you want to be part of us, don't delay. You can send me a DM on LinkedIn. You can reach out to any of our executive board members, Dr. Phineas and Nkrumah and Persis. So you can reach out to them and they would also equally direct you to our WhatsApp page. And the second good news we have before we zoom into our conversation is that we officially have a certified counselor as part of our community. So if you're on our WhatsApp community page and you need any form of emotional counseling, be it from in your relationships, in terms of marital relationships, courtship, dating, or you're struggling with anything of your mental health, anxiety, depression, panic attacks, anything of what sort, we have a certified counselor on board now, Miss Kiki. So if you are here and you are hearing me, you may not even be on our WhatsApp platform, but you want or you need, you know within yourself that it's time for you to seek the counsel of someone for that mental health issue you are going through. Please feel free to DM me as well, and I'll connect you to the best. She has been on one of our events, and now she's up to working with the organization and the community. So don't slack, don't cry in your home and be depressed. Come along and let's make this a beautiful experience. Okay. So I see some comments already. That's beautiful. Daniela says, I'm joining from LinkedIn and I can hear you. Thank you so much, Daniela. I see you. Newton also says hello. Gray says hello. I see Baldwin Diodu said hi. I'm joining from LinkedIn. Beautiful. Let's keep our comments coming in and I will definitely project them on the screen. So if you can hear me or you are joining in, let me know where you are joining it from. We have 4 people joining us from LinkedIn. I know many more can hear. So just keep dropping it in the comments, in the chat section, and we will duly attend to that. And as we always do, you get an opportunity to introduce yourself and what you do or the service you provide to our beautiful audience. So at this point, if you are here with me, you can drop a pitch about yourself. What is a pitch? Just a very brief statement about who you are and the service or the value you provide. So whether it's a business, whether it's a service, whether it's a product, whichever way it is, we are giving you free publicity. This is 0.00 cost. Just drop it in the comments. As I said, the number of people who come back to watch our events is amazing. And you may never know who would come across what you put in the chat and may need your services. So feel free to drop it in the comment section and we'll be glad to announce what you do to the world and support you in our best possible way. Okay, so now let's sit. Let's take our pens, our books, your notepad, whichever one you have, just take it out and let's begin our conversation today. Today we are discussing a very important topic, which is the process of becoming. I'm so much in love with this topic because it's something that we do not regularly hear people talk about, but it's something that we need to know about, the process of becoming, the journey between purpose discovery and purpose fulfillment. So we have looked at purpose discovery. You have discovered your purpose. You know what you're about, or at least you have a good idea of what you're about. What next? What next should you do? That is a conversation today. The process of becoming, navigating the journey from purpose discovery to purpose fulfillment. And I would like to introduce our very first speaker for today. She's a sister. She's a friend way back from school, and I've seen the amazing things she's doing, how she's evolving in her sphere, and it's so beautiful. She's someone that you can't be around and not want to grow. Like she doesn't need to tell you that you need to grow by seeing her life. you know that her life is a testament that you need to grow, you need to evolve, you need to embrace change. And I've seen her change to the different phase of life, and she has evolved beautifully. She is Dr. Beatrice Okra. She's a committed medical doctor with a special interest in neuropathology. Dr. Beatrice is a fellow of the Africans Who Invest Corporation, as well as the Dear Mentorship Club 100. She's also pursuing an MBA with a specialization in finance as an AI researcher and a data analyst. Look at all this. So she's a doctor, a finance person, right? She's also into data analytics and research. This is heavily packed. So she skillfully integrates her medical and AI expertise to contribute to projects focused on developing AI tools for improved management of stroke and gestational diabetes. She's currently doing a project on gestational diabetes, and I would really love if Dr. Beatrice could just drop the link as well in the comments when we are done, so that others get to know this amazing project that is going on. So Dr. Beatrice Okra is dedicated to harnessing AI and data analytics to foster innovation in medical research, healthcare, and finance. So giving honor to whom honor is due, I'd like to bring up to the stage Dr. Beatrice Okra. Dr. Beatrice, if you can hear us, kindly say a word. Your people are here for you.
Hello, everybody. It's great to be here. I'm super excited to be here, and I can't wait.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. I miss your very busy schedules. Okay.
It's an honor to
Thank
be
you so
here. Thank you for having me.
We are glad to hear that. Okay. So our next speaker is an amazing woman. And I say she's amazing. And if you followed a couple of my posts on LinkedIn, you would know that she is really an amazing person. Okay. Let me just send this. Okay. Okay, so Dr. Beatrice, I've sent you a special message in the private chat. Thank you. Okay, so if you followed a couple of my messages on LinkedIn and my posts, you would definitely know that she's someone that I often talk about, right? I even made a post this week mentioning about her, and she is Dr. Vicky. I'm just trying to find where to start from. So I met Dr. Vicky on LinkedIn, and I would want to call her one of the pioneering people of this initiative, because when I started out, I sent a couple of messages to people on LinkedIn to let them know that we're starting out the Holistic Medic series. That was in October last year, 2024. Good. And so I sent her a message and I was like, okay, Dr. Vicky, we are starting this for health professionals. And she's like, okay, I'm a doctor, but not in that way, And I was like, okay, no problem. I still want you to know about it. This is what we are doing. If you have any advice, anything, we'd like your support, we'd like to see you in our events. And she was like, sure. I think shortly after, she started engaging me in my DM. And I'm always so honored when I see how much of support she has been to my journey. It's the first time this girl, my passport has not yet crossed the borders of Ghana, it will soon happen, But my story and what we do at the Holistic Med Network got to appear in the Zimbabwean Business Digest News. So she actually took my story, my journey, and she shared it with the world, not just in Zimbabwe, but also a paper was featured in Cote d'Ivoire as well, all because of her. And I was like, so I told myself, I've traveled to 3 countries already, whether you believe it or not, right? And that is because of her amazing support. And I always tell people that if you think LinkedIn is nothing, just listen to my story. So I'm really honored. I'm really grateful to her for all she has been doing. And today she is here with us. So Dr. Vicky is widely known as the Elevation Coach. And she's an ordained minister, an award-winning purpose coach, and a 9-time author dedicated to empowering individuals with faith-driven approaches. And also she's geared towards founders and entrepreneurs to discover and fulfill their God-given purpose. And we are talking about purpose. So you know that we are definitely with the right set of people. With a passion for both spiritual and personal growth, Dr. Vicky is the visionary behind the Soul Blueprint, a transformative framework designed to help people reach their full potential and make a lasting global impact. As the founder and CEO of the Divine Purpose Publishing and editor-in-chief of Divine Purpose magazine, Dr. Vicky has created platforms that connects people to resources and guidance needed to be able to live out their God-given calling. Through Divine Purpose magazine, with a potential reach of over 26 million people globally, she offers inspiration and spiritual guidance, helping readers align their lives with God's will. Dr. Vicky is also the visionary behind the Soul Experience Virtual Summit, which unites kingdom entrepreneurs globally, equipping them to build, to manage, to grow, and to scale their businesses on a foundation of faith. Her books, particularly Time for a New Life, Turn to Jesus Christ, this time around, have touched lives across the globe, including prisons and juvenile institutions in the United States of America, focusing on restorative love of God's love. Giving honor to whom honor is due, I'd like to bring up to the stage Dr. Vicky Otaroyina. You're welcome, ma.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And it's a pleasure to be here amongst you wonderful ladies. And I look forward to today's discussion.
Beautiful. Thank you so, so much. So if you are ready with me, just put in the chat that we are ready to take flight. Our flight is set. We all got our tickets and we are good to go. I see Jeremiah from LinkedIn says, I'm joining from LinkedIn. Daniela says, hello. I see all the comments. We are grateful. Let's keep them coming in. And as I always say, as we go on with the conversation, if there are any points, anything that gets to you, anything, a lot of things will get to you. So you have to keep dropping them in the chat section, okay? If you have any questions, you can definitely put them there. At the end of that conversation, we would sort out all our questions and give you all the answers that you need. Okay, so now we want to start our conversation for today and the process of becoming. We want to address a very fundamental thing. Grace says we are ready. I see you. We want to address a very fundamental thing, which is about purpose. So when we had our meeting last 2 weeks, okay, so for those who may not know, our meetings are now every other week. So when we met last 2 weeks, we addressed the very core of purpose. However, I want us to touch on it again so that it becomes the foundation upon which we drive the conversation. So I would like to call Dr. Beatrice to expound and teach all of us what exactly purpose is and what are some of the key indicators that shows that someone has found their purpose. Because sometimes people think that they have discovered their purpose, but they get to a point and now they are confused, there's lack of clarity. So what are some of the things that can actually give someone the green lights that the car can move? I've found my purpose, I should pursue my purpose. Over to you, Dr. Beatrice.
Okay, thank you so much. Once again, I want to say that I am truly excited to be here and seeing my wonderful sister do all the things that she's doing. And I am definitely excited. And it's great to meet Dr. Vicky, great to meet all of you in this amazing community. So I believe that the talk on purpose is a must-have. You know, it's something that is very crucial because I've heard people who are aged maybe like 40, 50 say something like, oh, I wish I had lived my life a bit differently. I wish I didn't end up this way, or I wish I had turned out some other way. And for me, I think they all boil down to questions around purpose, you know, what you are meant to do. So in very simple terms, I'll say that purpose is what you are born to do. Because there are things that I believe that we are endowed to be able to handle. In God's grand scheme of affairs, I believe that everybody has a role to play. There are certainly certain gifts, some opportunities that are unique to you, some skills that are unique to you, some talents that are unique to you that we need, I mean, the whole world needs so that we can move forward. So it's really important for us to be able to know what we are here to do. What is our role in the master's grand scheme of affairs? You know, God says that He knows the plans He has for us, plans of good and not of evil. So it's really, God knows the plans, but do we know the plans? It's also important that we are aware of the plans that God has for us. And I believe that that's what purpose is about, getting to know what those plans are and stepping into the full reality of all that God wants for us. What are we here to do? I think that's a question that purpose is to answer. And I would also go on to say that purpose is tightly linked to us being able to identify our identity. Because for you to know what you are here to do, I think it's also crucially important that you are able to answer the question of, who am I? Who is Beatrice Okra? Who is Dr. Vicky? Who is Dr. Ben Sajiman Prempe? Who is da 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 da? Who are you? So it's very important that we know who we are, because that would help us know what are our strengths, what is our unique wiring, in what ways are we endowed specially to be able to do the things that we have been assigned to do. So in discovering our purpose, we need to know who we are. And I believe that who we are, before we can answer that question of who we are, we need to be able to know who made us, whose are we. So when we get to know God, then we're really beginning to understand who we are. So for me, purpose is really what we are meant to do. But before we can even understand what we are meant to do, we need to know who we are. And before we can know who we are, we need to know whose we are. So being able to answer all those questions, I believe, would help us to be able to lean into the fullness of what God has for us, so that we do not live lives of regrets. We do not live lives and think, oh, I wish there were another pathway for my life. No, but we would have that peace that comes with knowing that, oh, I think I'm doing this thing the best way. There's no other way I could have been doing this, or there's no other way I wish I would have been doing this. I think this is just the right path for me. And another thing I would want to touch on briefly is that our purpose is a gradual thing. We get to identify our purpose in seasons, in different seasons. So it's also important for us to have this understanding at the back of our mind, so that we don't think, oh, maybe some 6 years ago, I thought I was all about medicine. And then as time went on, I began to see, oh, I think there's this place where I can find expression. You know, my unique makeup allows me to find expression in other streams. It could be finance, it could be tech, it could be AI and all those things. So if I'm going to be able to allow myself to step into those dimensions, I need to have that understanding that purpose is revealed in season, so that I don't walk through life carrying just one fixed mentality that, oh, this is what I'm about, or this is what my life is about. So purpose also, for us to be able to walk in the fullness of our purpose, we also need to understand that purpose is revealed in season, so that we can be comfortable in the different seasons that we find ourselves in. And I think that is very, very important. So for me, I think one key indicator that I am in God's will, I am in God's purpose, is finding myself in a strong relationship with God. It's also about having that peace and knowing that I am being led by God. I am being shepherded by God as a way. And God is helping me to lean more towards what He wants me to do, what He would have me do. So that peace is very crucial. I think when you are doing the right thing, when you know that you are doing something right, there's a peace that comes with it. And for me, that peace is key. It's a key indicator. And also there's a sense of fulfillment that comes with being able to do the things that you have been called to do. Because there are so many things that you could do, but there are those that would come with this feeling of fulfillment. So that this thing I'm doing, people's lives are being blessed, this thing has my signature on it, and then people's lives are being touched. There's impacts going on all around the world, and it brings me this sense of fulfillment, because I know that all the toil I toiled, it hasn't been in vain. People's lives are actually being transformed. So there's that feeling of fulfillment that comes with it. So the peace and then the sense of fulfillment that comes with the things we do, I believe, are key indicators that we are actually working in our divine purpose. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Even though I dropped off at a point, I'm glad I go back in time to hear those 2 points about peace and the sense of fulfillment. And I think these are very important indicators. Amongst, definitely, there are certain things, as she said, that purpose evolves in seasons of our lives. It's not just a one-time on the road to Damascus thing. And definitely as time goes on, God reveals bits and pieces of every aspect of our lives to us. But as we journey, we have to know that peace is fundamental. And I'll just add briefly to what you said, Dr. Beatrice, that a lot of people think that, okay, if I'm pursuing purpose and it's about peace, I shouldn't have any issues. So far as issues come, then this is not purpose. That is so, I don't know which word to use. That's so, it's not even wrong. It's not erroneous. I don't know what word to use for it because it is so not true. The fact that you are doing something worthwhile would definitely be met with opposition. But the assurance of peace is that in the midst of the chaos, you will still be asleep within. When I say asleep within, it's just like the story of Jesus. Even though there was storm, even though there was chaos, he was still at rest. So there could be a lot of things going on, but within you are asleep. You are okay. You know that even though I am struggling through this, I am struggling for the right reason. Even though I am having issues with this, I'm having it because I'm in purpose. But when there is a great conflict within, internal conflict, that this is not what I'm supposed to do, and it comes with a lot of friction, especially if you are pursuing your God-given purpose. I believe as a believer, especially if you are, God will definitely give you that insight, that intuition, that witness from within that this thing you are doing is not the path you are supposed to take. So thank you so much for that addition. And I believe that a lot of people would take that and know for a fact that in pursuing purpose, you first have to know who made you, whose you are. Because if you know who you are working for, you know what he has called you to do. Before I ask the next question, you said something so beautiful. I was like, okay, I've never thought about it in that way. Dr. Beatrice was like, we all know the Jeremiah scripture. I know the plans I have for you. So God knows the plans he has for us, but do we know the plans God has for us? I think it's time we begin to reflect on that and think about it, because we quote that scripture, we are always, God said he knows the plans he has for us. But do you know that plan? You have no idea. How would you know you are pursuing it? So that was a very important point there. Thank you so much, Dr. Beatrice. Okay, so now that we know what purpose is, and now that we know what can show us if we are on track with purpose, I would want Dr. Vicky to elaborate on some of the common misconceptions that people have about purpose discovery. A lot of people have a lot of weird ideas when we talk about purpose discovery. So can you mention some of them and how we can deal with them? Over to you, Doc.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Dr. Beatrice. I have notes here for every question, and it's exactly what I have. You've spoken. I just love it. For me, the common misconceptions that I've found is that people sometimes think that purpose is one thing. So I've been called, let's say, to be a medical doctor, for instance. That's it. Purpose is just this one place that I am, or one thing that I am to become. Not realizing, I think Dr. Beatrice spoke on it, but it's really an evolution. And it's not just purpose. That purpose is not just, that one thing, but it's knowing what is required of you in this season so that you're in. So we talk about the why. We know why, but the misconception comes when we don't understand that why evolves over time as we grow, as we mature, as we become more versed in a certain area, as we move from level to level, as we pass various tests that we have to go through, and as we mature, it's just not one thing or at one time. It really is just becoming all that you were created to be in this season that you're in. And of course, another misconception is that, I'm 30, so I must discover my purpose now, not realizing that even though you've discovered it at 30, at 40, it could look a little different. Not that the purpose has changed, but again, as you have matured, there are things that God is going to put you in positions to be used differently, put you in areas to change lives and to impact more lives and in different ways. So that main misconception that I've come across is just thinking that there is one purpose or one thing that we're supposed to do. And once we do that thing, we stay there, we exhaust that thing and nothing else. And then thinking that maturity does not have anything to do with the evolution of purpose. So I'm just going to stop right there. That's the main misconception that I find, that I encounter as I meet with people daily.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Vicky. So she said that purpose is not a one-time thing. It's an evolution, that you can grow from that place of purpose. So the fact that, I think last 2 weeks, sorry, that was a question someone asked, that, okay, so if I discover my purpose, let's say when I was in primary school, I wanted to do this particular thing, and now I've grown up and I'm doing something different. Does that mean that I have abandoned that purpose and I am pursuing something else? So there was that conflict, and I was like, so one of our speakers actually spoke to that point and was like, no, it could be that same thing. And if you actually look at it critically, you realize that there could be an intersection of what you are doing. So right now, it may look like you are doing so many things, like you have so many colors, but it can come together and look like coats of many colors, and it's still a dress, it's still beautiful enough. So it's not just a one-time thing. If you are on this call and you're hearing us, just as Dr. Vicky said, you may think that now you are doing so many scattered things, but just with time, there will be that synergy, and you realize that it was all for good. I always say, I thank God I learned a little bit of graphic design during the COVID time, just a little bit, and just that little bit has really saved me a lot of things, that at least now I'm able to do some video editing by myself. I think most of you saw our thumbnail for our video that we premiered this morning. I was like, okay, let me try my hands on it, and I did the thumbnail myself. I saw a lot of people asking if it was our graphic designer, Mr. Gideon, or who did it. I was like, no, it was me. So you may think that, why are you learning this, why are you doing that? But as time goes on, you realize that it's all going to add together, and it's all going to actually make your purpose journey better than it was before. Beautiful. Okay, so I see Baldwin says that is interesting. Before we can know who we are, we must know whose we are. Beautiful. Okay, Grace says, who are you? Whose are you? Purpose is a gradual discovery. And I can see Dobson Beast from YouTube sending all the fire emojis to us as well. Thank you for that. Okay, so back to you, Dr. Beatrice. We would like to find out that we are talking about the fact that we've discovered our purpose. Now we want to transition to fulfilling that purpose. So once someone has discovered their purpose, or they've been able to know that this is what God would have me do, what should be their next steps? How can they transition into discovering purpose and actually living out their purpose? And what are some of the steps that they can take to be able to live out that purpose on a daily basis? Over to you, please.
Wow, that's such an intelligent question. I think it's a very, very important question to ask. So I believe that it doesn't end at just knowing what you are meant to do does not equate to having fulfilled it. There's a whole journey in between. And I believe that it's not enough to just have a gift. It's not enough to just have a talent. It's not enough to just have an ability, a unique gifting. There are things that you have to do. There are processes that you have to subscribe to. There are unlearnings and things. So many things that have to go into the process of your evolution. And primarily, what should happen after purpose discovery is an evolution into the kind of person that has that unique value arrangement, that is able to handle the resources and the things that God has destined for you to be able to do. So I think that essentially the process from vision to venture is really one that is about becoming. So that's why I really, really love the title of the series, which talks about the becoming. It's really the process of becoming that person who has, been developed into that kind of edifice, able to handle the things. Because believe it or not, what God has for us is bigger than what we might think. It might be bigger than anything that we have imagined. And so we need to be built in a certain way so that we would be able to adequately handle the things that God has given us. So I'll share a couple of things that have helped me in my journey, and which I believe that they would be also very, very instrumental in all of us our lives. So I'll be quick to share them real quick. So the first one, I'll talk about building a solid foundation. Jesus said a thing about And this is one scripture I really, really love in Luke chapter 14, verse 28, where Jesus was talking about the man who wants to build an edifice. And he says that person would first have to sit down to consider, because it's a long journey and it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. This whole thing about purpose, evolving into the kind of person, it's not something that will you will wake up one day and then boom, you are that one person that's able to do all the multitasking, able to do all the things that's, the fanciful things. No, it's a process. And I believe that it should start with building a solid foundation. What do I mean by the solid foundation? Are you going to now look for a piece of land and get some cement and build it? No. So this foundation I'm talking about your value system. I'm talking about your character. I'm talking about the making of, your something maybe I would want to call your internal consistency. So it's really about having that good foundation. I believe that it's important to identify what are your values, what are the things you are willing to do for money, what are the things you would never do for money. Those things would hinge on your virtue, the values you want to have, the character, the sort of man, the sort of woman that you want to be. I think it's very crucial to have those addressed right from the start. Build your foundation, build your character, become that person of resilience, right from the start. Build that foundation and have the fear of God, the love for people, because those are the things that would really form the restraints that you need around you when you have become somebody who has a lot of power, a lot of money, a lot of things at your disposal. So I think it's really important for us to develop that ability, that to nurture that fear of God, to nurture that virtue that we need to be able to handle the things that we're going to have. Otherwise, those things will kill us. Because I don't think God has a problem with making all of us millionaires, billionaires. But then there comes the question of, are you able to handle that kind of wealth? If I wake up tomorrow and I'm a trillionaire, what are the things I'm going to do? What are the things I'm going to do? I need to be able to have my foundations built right so that God can trust me with the resources that He's going to give me. And I picked this also from the story of the wealthy man who left his servants with things. I always wonder, how did the man know that the guy he was given 1 talent to was going to behave just the way he did? How did you know that the guy with the 5 talents was going to come up just the way he did? I think he knew their strengths. And so when he apportioned them the resources, it was just a way to reveal them to them. Okay. So God will give us what we can handle. So we should always begin with building our foundations, developing the capacity for the journey ahead. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's not a 1 day thing. It's not even a year's thing. It's not a 2 year thing. It's not even a 20-year thing. It's a lifelong thing. So I believe that it's very, very crucial for us to be able to start with the right foundations. And then the second thing I'll talk about is to have our minds transformed. I believe that in the subsequent sessions, concerns about mental shifts are going to be addressed, but I'll just mention it briefly. The Bible says, do not conform to the patterns of the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So for us to be able to move into the fullness of what God has for us, I believe that we need to have our minds transformed. So I believe that we have that responsibility to crack the mold. So it's not your fault that you were born in the environment you were born in. I was born into a family where there was no doctor. But I had the responsibility to crack that mold. I had the responsibility to learn, to relearn, to unlearn. That one was a responsibility. And I thank God I discovered that responsibility early enough. So when I needed to take on some courses, do the hard things, I knew it was mine. Nobody would do it for me. It was my responsibility. So I think it's also important that we come to terms with that. I mean, after building your foundations, you also need to make sure that your mind is transformed, and you have to put in the work. You have to buy the books. You have to subscribe to, the training process. It's entirely up to you. Okay. And the third thing for me would be mentorship, would be having the right environment, associations, partnerships, they are key. Nobody's an island. I don't think anybody can do it alone. I have not come this far alone. There are so many people that have helped me in my journey. I remember during my MBA class, I can mention a lot of people that have gone out of their way to help me, that have gone out of their way to encourage me. And they were as motivated as I may have felt at the start of the journey. You know, motivation is not something that can sustain you in your journey. You will need discipline, a healthy dose of discipline at that. And so you would need people. There are people that would be sent to you. This my sister here, Dennis. She's an encourager. She just knows how to encourage. I remember in the beginning times, I would come to her room and I would be crying. And I'll tell her, I feel like I'm going to die. This load is heavy. But she'd tell me, no, bitch, you're equipped for this. You can do this. So you really need people. You need people that would be able to speak into your life, the positivity into your life, and let you know that you are capable, you're more than able. You need people that would encourage you. You also need people that will rebuke you. I have a friend. At a point, I thought he hated me because, like, everything, everything. He had a problem with it. You didn't do this right. You didn't do this right. So even I have my brothers who is like that, and I thank God for their lives because I noticed that I needed a balance of people who would encourage me and people who would also let me not be comfortable living in the mess that I was in, so that I would be able to evolve, so that I'll be able to crack that mold. Sometimes you need a person. There are people who will be like, no, you did this, but you could have done it better. You could have done it this way. So you need that healthy balance of people, that community, that partnership, being in a space of like-minded people. Because sometimes, especially when you're evolving, if you're not careful, if you find yourself amongst people who cannot see the vision you are seeing, they might end up saying things unknowingly, subconsciously. That would be, how should I say this? That might not be the right environment for you to grow. But if you find yourself amongst the people who share your vision, who understand you, who know that this girl is going this way, this is the way I can support her, this is the way I can do this. It has a way of boosting your productivity. It has a way of letting you see things differently. And so I think that that is also very, very important. So you need people, you need partnerships. You are not an island. You cannot do it alone. You need people, you need motivators, you need people who rebuke you, people who will correct you. You need that spanking also. Yeah. So the third thing I would want to talk about is on building structures and systems. This is so, so important. What routines do you have? What schedules do you have? How are you automating the tasks that you can automate so that you'd be able to have your results in a seamless fashion, so that it's not always manual, it's not always hard work. I mean, hard work is important. I'm never going to underestimate the essence of hard work, but I know that there's a place for smart work also. So I'm talking about the need for us to be able to build the right structures, form the right schedules, have the right routines that would help us in our journey. And the last thing I'll talk about will be investing in ourselves. You have to invest in yourself. Sometimes it will take money, sometimes it will take time, it might take other resources, but make sure that you're investing in yourself. It's not cheap. Your life project is not a cheap one, so you have to be willing to fund it. So I remember, if I mention the amounts I've spent, out of my own pocket, getting some degree, getting some sort of education, you might be shocked. But I don't regret any of that. I mean, it could have gotten some nice dresses, a few things, some trip, somewhere, just relax and enjoy the baby girl life, that soft life that we all desire. But I had to understand that life is in seasons, and in that particular point, I needed that training. And so I knew that it was a service I was doing to myself. So you need to be willing to invest and invest in yourself. Believe in yourself enough to invest in yourself. Yeah, that's what I'll share for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, B, for that. Thank you for those important points that you mentioned and how you just rounded it all off that believe in yourself enough to invest in yourself. And I was telling someone this last week that When we send our money to a bank, or even when, let's say, you invest in someone's business, there are a lot of apps around, Bamboo, Ladder, the likes, Achieved by Petra. I'm not doing advertisement anyway, but these are all apps going on that people use for investment and savings. The reason why we believe them and we give them our money is that we know that we are going to get returns. So you are investing because you believe in that company. You are investing because you believe in that business. So equally, if you know you believe in your craft and you believe in what you are doing, you must be willing to invest in it. I don't just ask yourself, for those of you listening to us this beautiful evening on this Saturday, how much have you invested in yourself? If you were to put it in terms of monetary, how much have you invested in yourself? If in terms of knowledge, how much have you invested in yourself? Yet you expect to yield dividends from yourself. You expect to achieve certain milestones for yourself. And when you do not achieve them, you go through this whole emotional phase. But ask yourself, how much have you invested? If you have invested minimally, why are you expecting higher returns? Because it's what you're putting is what you're going to get. Even the story that Dr. Beatrice mentioned in the Bible of the parable of the talents, the one who gave 5, he was given 5. The one who was given 2 came back with a double of it, 2. The one who was given one said, okay, let me just go and put it somewhere. But ask yourself, how much are you receiving? So if you are just assuming you are just getting 1 out of your life, it depends on how much you are sowing. So if you want to gain more, you have to sow more. You have to invest in yourself. And this is a very important thing that Dr. Beatrice is telling us today, that the journey from you discovering your purpose, if you are listening to me and if you have not discovered your purpose, then you need to go back and watch our event 2 weeks ago. But if you have discovered just even a segment of your purpose and you are asking how you can fulfill it, one key thing is you investing in yourself. Francis is putting something so beautiful in the comment. He said, your purpose can be the best part of who you have become, and the world needs your value, and you can't, and not less than that. You need to be able to give the best of yourself. I'm not saying that, okay, empty your accounts, and it's a gradual process. It's a gradual process, right? Maybe you are into content creation. It's a gradual process. Probably start with a ring light here, start with this there, little by little, then you scale up. That is how life is. I was telling a couple of students this week, they joined us at the clinic, that I made a huge investment in myself for what I do on this event this week, that after making the investment, I was having palpitations. Like my heart was beating boom, 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 because I felt it. But then I told myself, this is a good investment. You know why you are doing this. So that's the same thing. Believe in yourself enough to invest in yourself. Lack of investing in yourself is a sign of disbelief in yourself. If you believe in yourself, you will buy that book, you will buy that course, you would text that mentor, you would follow up on assignment, you would start that thing. Maybe it's time you believed in yourself to take that step. This is a personal word to me, and I'm sure this is a very personal word to most of us here on this call as well. And just as Dr. Beatrice said, we need to build structures. And I'm so grateful that she mentioned that we need to build structures. We need to build structures for ourselves, because if you always want success to be manually generated and vigorously generated, you will not have all the strength for the rest of your life. Yes, we pray for long life with good strength, but we are under this cosmos. There will be a time where the energy may be depleted. So you need to have a way where your results can be automated, that you get certain results, that as you are working, you are still getting certain results without that same measure of strength. So if you invest a very good amount of strength into something at this initial stages of your life, as you age, you don't invest that same measure of strength, but it yields dividends. So go all out on yourself, go all out on your purpose. At the right time, it will speak. Thank you. It's like they are just so good essential points that I just hope we are taking this in a very good way, and we are putting down the practical steps for you to follow. Now, we've spoken about the steps we should take, the things we should do to fulfill purpose. However, on our way, we know certainly there will be obstacles. there'll be challenges, there'll be difficulties. So I would like to find out from Dr. Vicky, what are some of the biggest obstacles that people face when they are fulfilling their purpose, and how can they overcome them? What are some of the mindset shifts as well that we need for moving from being a purpose seeker to a purpose fulfiller? Over to you, Dr. Vicky.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bernice. A lot of the obstacles that often come about or we experience, they are, I would say, a lot of internal obstacles and a lot of mindset that we need to shift. So I know you asked what are the mindsets that we need to adopt. There are definitely some mindsets that we have to shift. So the first one of the, or let's say the first obstacle that I've seen and I've experienced is thinking that everyone will embrace your purpose, or everyone needs to be on that journey of purpose with you. There are persons in our lives that are here or there with us for a season. And we have to be so attuned to the voice of God with our ears to his mouth to know when it's time, when a relationship has really exhausted its season, when it's time to let go, when it's time to put that relationship or that person in a different bracket. Who could have held your hand in the last season no longer has what it takes for this new season or the season to come. So in order for us to fulfill the specific purpose for this phase that we're in, we have to be able to assess who needs to be removed from us, who needs to be put in a different bracket, as I said, who needs not to be in our, let's say, our back pocket anymore, who needs not to be our bosom buddy, because everybody cannot go on our journey and everybody will not embrace that journey, especially as you mature. So we have to shift our minds to understand that specific thing, because that any person around you in your moment of fulfillment or execution of that purpose, any person around you that should not be there, that person will indeed bring about that stagnation in your life and stop you from moving at the speed, stop you from moving forward in the way and in the timing that you're supposed to move forward in. And the second one is fear of failure or criticism. Internally, we have these blockages that when we are executing, these things paralyze the ability to put things into action. We have the fear that when, I know I'm called to this, I know I'm called to that, but then there's fear. And the word says, fear not. We can trust in God with all our hearts, all our might. We do not have to lean to that fear, but we can trust in God. Because as I said, it stops us from moving and discourages us from stepping out of the comfort zone to execute the purpose, to execute the new level, to step into the new phase that we are called to, and the new thing that we are called to do that is part of our purpose. So God can reveal you are now called to do something different. You're now called to execute or to bring to realization a passion that you had from a childhood. Now the resources have come. Now everything is in place. The fear. So we have to cultivate that mindset of where challenges are seen as opportunities. We have to improve ourselves rather than allowing fear to take over. We have to understand that fear is really a setback and realize that we have to push ourselves to move forward, push ourselves to realize that failure, even if there has been failure, really failure is really a setup for comeback. So even if there is failure, so what? But embrace and begin to have a new mindset. And where there has been failure before, where you're now thinking, oh, I'm going to fail again, remember, you take the lessons of that failure, you embrace what happened and what learning experience happened, and now you apply that to every aspect of the execution of your purpose to propel you into a new place. So as I said, having a growth mindset and not a fear mindset is necessary, because we are human beings and we always look at been through before, and we see similar things, or we relate things that we have to do with similar things that happened in the past, and we begin to make associations. And sometimes we are going to be so successful beyond what we've ever seen, but because of that fear. So today I'm encouraging you to cultivate that mindset that you will get it done, you will be successful, and have that growth mindset, that where challenges happened before, now I'm going to step on these challenges as opportunities, as stepping stones, because my purpose must be executed. Thirdly, we have a lot of people that are struggling. There's a lot of lack of clarity, and we know our purpose, but there's so much that we do, so much that we have in us, so much that we are thinking about. There's so much lack of clarity, and if we stay in that lack of clarity, we don't move forward. That's where it is possible to work with people around us, call upon people that can help us. That's where we have to know, delve into ourselves, maybe work with a coach on how we can achieve that purpose and gain clarity, and be open to sharing things with others, be open to opening up yourself to other people that can help you. Because if you stay in that lack of clarity, you will struggle. It becomes an obstacle that you can't overtake, because when you begin to discover purpose, there's so many things that are revealed unto you, so many things that are poured out to you from God, and then you get to a place that you can be so unclear. But you need to be able to have that person on hand, or that accountability partner that can work with you through clarifying various aspects, so you can take one step by one step to get it done. So your mindset shift here is to be open to others that can help you. Be open to people that have been there before. Be open to people that are willing to help you be accountable and help you develop those steps one bit by bit. And as I say that, I go into the next point. Overwhelm and burnout, it becomes an obstacle, because we try to do so much so quickly. We're so excited about our purpose. We're so excited to fulfill it. We're so excited to have the resources. We become overwhelmed and we become burnt out. What we need to do is have the priorities, prioritize our tasks, and set those realistic goals, because purpose is not a marathon. Purposeful living is a marathon. It is not a sprint. And you must be able to sustain your progress over time by prioritizing, as I said before, what is it that God requires from me in this season of March, April 2025 versus what he needed from me in March, April 2024. So prioritize the task that is needed for this season, needed for this time. Set goals that are needed for this next quarter that you're coming up, right? That's coming up. Set realistic goals and schedule breaks in order to maintain your mental capacity, in order not to overwhelm yourself and be burnt out. And one of the things that I always, or the last constraint or obstacle rather, that really affects us is that resource constraint. We always say we don't have the money. We always say we don't have enough financial resources, enough time, enough people to help us, enough support. There's always something. And it may be true. It may be true, but when we sit with God and we hold on to this scripture, Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. He's the one that knows the plans he has for us. He is the one who has given us the purpose. So when we say sometimes we don't have the money, that really isn't a blockage. We have to adopt the mindset that you can do all things through Christ. Do not focus on what you don't have, but focus on what is in your hands, on what you can do to start stepping out and start walking, start running, or start swimming on that marathon and getting to the places that you need to get. Because there are people around you, community resources, free platforms, free courses, partnerships you can get involved in, things that can help you efficiently maximize whatever is in front of you. And I always like to tell people, a lot of people say I don't have the money to write a book. All of my books were written without money because I have some understanding of graphic abilities. So I did my own covers. I have some, my best friend, she is an editor, so she did my editing for me. Also, I wrote my manuscripts. I did my first editing myself. So a lot of what I thought I couldn't do, I was actually able to do without money. I was able to learn the self-publishing process, and I published my books as a self-publisher. Yes, we need money if we want to take our books to the highest level of being bestsellers. If we want to take our books to the place where our books can become New York bestselling, New York bestsellers, or we can become New York bestsellers, then we have to work with agents, which require money. We have to do proposals. We have to work with different publishers. But if God has given you something and He says, do it now, do it now. You have to seek Him for this strategy, because it means if He says you do it now and you can't see the money is actually there. If you can't see the possibility, it's actually there. It's actually already in your hands, and you don't need to get it from somewhere else. All it takes is for you to get it done. So move from just dreaming to doing. Move from that self-doubt to I have it, that self-efficacy. Move from isolation to the community. Move from the fixed mindset, the failure mindset, to the growth mindset, and you will get it done. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Vicky. Thank you so much. It is time for us to move from that limiting, fearful mindset to a growth mindset, and do it now. Just start. I always keep saying this, that clarity comes in the process, and clarity will definitely come with action. Just start. Just start. If God saw the vision and He told you to do it now, it's because of what He has seen. You may be thinking you do not have enough, but if God says do it, it's because He is seeing beyond what you are seeing. And when you take that step, it will certainly work out for you. So take that step. Don't let fear of failure, internal fears, overtasking yourself. Make sure that you do exactly what you've been called to do per time, so that you'll be able to pursue purpose. No more purpose seekers. We have to fulfill purpose. I want you to put in the comments, I am a purpose fulfiller. I am a purpose fulfiller. You've discovered your purpose. It's time for you to fulfill it. It's time for you to do that thing you've been writing down. I saw an amazing video this week by a lady, and she was like, most often when we are setting our goals, to write down, I want to achieve so and so. Maybe I want to lose weight. I want to write that book. I want to probably invest in this stock or something. She was like, replace the want with I'm on a mission to. I'm on a mission to lose weight. I'm on a mission to, it gives you that sense of journey, that sense of driven resilience. I'm on a mission to. So today I want you to tell yourself, whatever you believe your purpose is, tell yourself, I am on a mission to do this. I'm on a mission to get that master's. I'm on a mission to get that degree. I'm on a mission to get this marriage right. You are on a mission, so that you don't just see it as a want or a desire, but as a journey and as a task. Beautiful. Thank you so much again for that, Dr. Vicky. So back to you, Dr. Beatrice. We'd like to find out, in our journey, we've discussed the areas of failure. We've discussed so many things that could be obstacles, but there are certain aspects of our journey that I believe we have to address, certain challenges that really come our way that we have to get to and see how best we can surmount it. So for anybody who is here, who is dealing with a season of delay, stagnation, self-doubt, or lack of direction. So delay, they believe that they should be seeing more results than they are seeing now. So if they feel like they are stuck at one point and now they do not believe in themselves, so because of that, they've lost their way. What do you have to say to such people who may be finding themselves in this place? Over to you, Dr. Beatrice.
That's such a good question to ask, because believe it or not, there are going to come those seasons, the seasons of delay, of stagnation, self-doubt, when you're asking yourself, this thing, am I really cut out for this? Is this really my purpose? I mean, there would be those instances that would make you question yourself a few times. There would be instances where you feel you are not adequate, you are not fully equipped to do something. But remember, you are not your feelings. Okay. It's something I had to tell myself at a point in my life. I needed to say to myself, I am not what I feel. The fact that I feel that I do not have the build up for this does not mean that that is the truth. And feelings are temporary. So it's true. There are going to be those seasons where you feel it's so boring doing this thing all over again every single time. And you can't wait for that time when you just see the dawn of the morning when the night is over. So what do we do in that season? So I'll share a couple of things that have helped me in my journey thus far. The first thing I believe is to stay with God. Stay with God. If you reckon that God is the one that gave you the idea, God is the one that gave you the purpose, God is the one that gives you that sense of identity, He's the one that has the unique blueprint that you need for your life, then stay with Him. Go back to God. Go back to God. In that season of delay, in that season of stagnation, when you don't feel like going, when you don't feel like showing up when you have to show up, just stay with God, because He has a way of letting His word confirm that He hasn't forgotten. And you see, I read a scripture that made me know that God has a passionate commitment to my life. And that thing changed the way I saw myself. You see, God has a passionate commitment. So when I don't feel like showing up, it doesn't mean that He feels the same way. It doesn't mean that God also thinks, this girl, what is this? We've come this far and this is what you are doing, so I'm going to back off. No. So that's why I think it's very crucial that you stay with God. So if this means that you need to go on times of retreats, you need to do it. If it means that you need to spend more time reflecting, you need to do it. If it means that you need to spend more time, meditating, my goodness, that is so important. You need to do it. So go back to God, because He is your source. He's the one that gives you your identity. He's the one that equips you. He's the one that, empowers you to be able to do the things you have to do. The Bible says we can do all things through Christ who gives us strength. So it's important that we go back to the source of our strength, and that is God. The second thing that can help us in that season is to remember why we started. So I believe that before you set out to do anything, you should have a strong why. When I started the journey of doing my MBA, there were many seasons. I mean, there was a time when I was writing exams by morning, exams by evening. There was a time when I wanted to sleep, but I did not have that luxury. Sleep had become a luxury. I didn't even have the option of sleeping, because how do you sleep when you're preparing for 2 different papers on one day in 2 different subjects, 2 different subject fields in one day? You're writing, let's say, accounting in the evening, and then you're writing, let's say, medicine in the morning. How do you sleep? You can't do it. So in that instance, you need to remember why you started. The why must be strong. The why must be strong, so that whenever you are faced with the season of doubts, you are faced with the devil throws one question of self-doubt at you. You remember, I didn't even start this thing for my own self. I started this because God has a plan. I started this because I know there's going to come a day when this thing that I'm doing is going to help other people. It's going to help people step into their full potential. It's going to become a very powerful tool. I'm not backing up on this because I remember why I started. So it's really important that we have the why clearly, boldly stated, in our lives. And I think it's not just enough to have it in you. You should also have it around you as much as you can. So I think my friends can attest to this. I still do it when I'd have things pasted on my walls, in my room. I'd have the statements all around me because I must not forget. I must not forget why I started. I must not forget that there's a purpose attached to this thing I'm doing. So it really helps to also surround yourself, condition your environment so that it responds to the vision that you have. So it's important that you, if it means you have to, put it by your bed, put it around your walls, have it on your phone. There was a time I constructed a vision board, and I think it's a great thing to do. I had this vision board on my phone. It was my screensaver. So every time I took my phone, I'll see the vision board and it would remind me the things I wanted to do. So having that helped me to always have a mental picture of where I was going, and it really helped me a lot. So you have to surround yourself with the things. It's part of the systems. It's part of the structures you build around yourself. Just see it often, say it often, hear it often. Make sure you're conditioning your environment, make sure you're conditioning yourself to be able to not give up, to be able to keep going. Is really, really crucial. Another thing I would say is know that sometimes it's normal, so that you don't pressure yourself into things that you ought not to do. Because I take this from the story of Jesus. He was 12. There was a public announcement about his life. We were told he went to the temple, a lot of things happened. And then for about 18 years, there was a lot of silence. We didn't hear about him. He was in some state of maybe some growth, maybe I should put it that way. He was growing in that time, and we're not too sure what was happening in that instance. So there would be times in our lives when nobody would see us, our voices would not be heard. But it doesn't mean that growth has stopped. There's a time that the seed is put in the soil and nobody sees what's going on underneath the soil. It's a period of hiding, it's a period of grooming. But there will be evidence. Somebody says there will be signs and there will be symptoms when I start getting money. I will not tell you, but there will be signs. As a parallel, that's just a joke on the side. As a parallel, though, there will be signs, when the time comes. So don't give up, and understand that there are those seasons. There's really a time when you need to be in the hiding. It's not every time that you'll be in the known. So when you are in that season of your life, I know that it's not forever, it's temporary, it's a season, it's a phase, it will go away. So when you are in that phase, come to terms with it and understand that it's all part of God's plan to groom you, so that you can become that version of yourself that is able to handle the things that God has destined for you. So agree that it's normal. Sometimes you're going to be in that space, and when you're in that season, don't fret. It doesn't mean that God has stopped working. No, he is still working on you. It doesn't mean that you have stopped growing. No, your body cells are still growing. It doesn't mean that your end has come. No, there's a whole life ahead of you. There's a whole life ahead of on the other side of the period of silence. So hey, if you happen to be in that season, cheer up. It's all part of the process, okay? And sooner or later, you will realize that it was all for your good. And another thing that would help in that instance is to avoid comparison. Don't compare yourself to other people. You are you. You are unique, you are bold, you are beautiful. You have a whole journey mapped just for you. You have your unique blueprint, you have your unique thumbprint, you have your unique everything. And so you really don't need to compare yourself to other people. You see. And there's a way that I want to paint this picture. Some people, there are people who are doing great things. For all we know, they might not even live that long. Okay, I don't say this to. I mean this in a very positive way. Some people live up to maybe 30 years and they're gone. Some people live up to say 40 years. So imagine that kind of person. If the person is doing a lot of things, somebody might be there and think, this person is too knowing, But that person is running their race. If they don't do the things they're doing at that time, they might be moving out of purpose. Somebody is working on something that is going to benefit several lives many years from now, and the time for that person to do it is now. So if you don't have the full picture, if you're not seeing the big picture, and you listen and you judge or you watch and you judge, you might be judging wrongly. Okay, so it's really important that we know that everybody is on their own journey. Support people when you can. Don't compare yourself to others. Celebrate people's wins, because one day you will also be celebrated. I'm not saying that every young person doing great things is going to die young. No, God forbid it. We actually need them to be around for long to continue the things that they have started and to even innovate new ones. Okay, I'm just saying that some people, and that is how life is. Some people don't live to be very, very old, but it does not mean that they cannot achieve their purpose. So I'm just trying to say that everybody has their own timing. Everybody has their own timing. So if the time is right for you to do something, don't postpone it. Okay. That's just on the side. But going back to the subject matter of delay, stagnation, self-doubt, and lack of direction, I'll just want to make it clear that comparison is a killer and it's a thief of joy. Don't compare yourself to other people. Believe that you are able, that you are capable, and at the right time, with the right process, with the right training, you are going to come out exceptionally well. Yeah, I'll leave it here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I believe that was very encouraging to a lot of people hearing this, because comparison is a very, I don't want to say it's a deadly thing to purpose achievement, but I think it is it's in its simplest form. It's a huge thing that is affecting the birthing of a lot of vision and a lot of things that should have happened already, because people are comparing. I always say that if you want to compare for the good, right? Not for the evil or not for the bad side of it. But if you are comparing for you to be able to pick up something, you want to learn from it, right? That is better. But for you to compare your journey to another person, that is something you should never do. As Dr. Beatrice said, you do not know the time span for what you are doing. You do not know the demands on the life. It could be that the vision God has given to that person is temporary, and they have to make sure that they fulfill it within that time. So make sure that you commit to your vision board, put the chalk to your vision board and stick with it. And do not let comparison kill your vision. Do not let comparison kill your drive. Do not let envy kill yours. Because the more time you spend comparing and envying others instead of learning from them, you are taking off the energy from your path and focusing on their path. So I believe that is something that is very important that we need to get right from today. Baldwin says that comparison is a killer. Indeed, it is. It's a killer of dreams, killer of innovations, and it's a killer of everything good that God would have you do. So yeah, Dr. Vicky, I would want you to also touch on the same in terms of the challenges and the obstacles that we face. That now we've addressed the issue of self-delay, the issues of stagnation, the issues of doubt. But one thing that most people have not actually taken a very good look at, and I'm glad you touched on this earlier, is the aspect of burning out. Because there are a lot of people who are burning out now. One, because either they rushed into purpose, or because they would want to fulfill purpose within a certain time limit that they have given for themselves. So for anyone here who is struggling with burnout, that's lack of energy to do what they are supposed to do. Two, lack of desire. That's anhedonia. They don't find their purpose pursuing pleasurable anymore. I want you to address those sects of people and how they can overcome it. Over to you, Dr. Vicky.
Definitely. Thank you so much for that question. I think a lot of burnout happens because, yes, we take on too much, but it happens, we get to the point where we don't love what we're doing anymore, or we know that we're supposed to be doing it, but it really doesn't bring joy, which it shouldn't be. And we get to that point because we haven't mastered the ability to say no. We haven't mastered when we should say yes and when we should say no. I know that sometimes people, you may have a multitasker. So we look at skills when we talk about discovering purpose. A lot of the skills that we have are really stepping stones to how God will use us as we execute that purpose. There are some multitaskers, there's some people that really can plan really well, get projects completed and so on. And because of that, persons looking on will depend on them for every single thing. They will want them to manage everything. They will want them to run everything. And if you are not one that can say no, or can say, well, this does not fall into my priority at this time, I think it's best to hand it over to Dr. Beatrice. I think it's best to hand it over to Dr. Bernice. If you're not able to do that and say no, then you will reach that burnout. So being able to say no, knowing when to say no, building the confidence, building the confidence to say no, building Building that comes with understanding this is where I am, and I can't allow anything else. Nothing else really fits into the goals and the purpose that is for my life for this season. That will take me out of the plan. That will take me out of the focus. I'm on this journey, and that will pull me outside, so I can't take it on. When we are able to do this, do it confidently with not thinking or not worried about what other people will think, then we have reached a place where we can say we are truly walking in purpose. So it's important to be able to know when to say no and master the art of doing so. And then setting clear boundaries. Sometimes we let too many things and people into our space, and it clouds us. It causes us to get weary, to get stressed out, to get worried. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has an opinion, and rightly so. But I can decide who I want in my space, or I can decide what opinions I allow to be spoken over me more than once. So set those clear boundaries, and also set clear boundaries for the mindset of what you need to decline in order to protect your time and your energy. So sometimes we have to set boundaries for work. Sometimes we have to set boundaries for how much time we apply to various aspects of our lives, especially that do not align with purpose or contribute to our well-being. In order for us to execute our purpose, we have to be well. We have to be well. We have to be well. So in order to do so, another step is to prioritize taking care of yourself. Regularly, I don't know how many of you live close to a beach, but regularly I had to adopt taking time here on the island to go to the beach, to just walk on the sand, to just sit and talk to God, to gain myself, to restore my soul, to be ready to go forward. This can be, a type of exercise, a type of hobby, whatever it is, but, doing something for yourself. It's important because this pulls you out of the monotony of going all the time, and you can prevent burnout in that way. And I always talk about seeking support. When it comes to burnout, seek support in everything that you do. When it comes to purpose, there has to be somebody that you can call on. There has to be somebody that can be your accountability partner, to see when you're being stressed out, to see when you need to make that pause. There has to be someone that can be on your side or with you to help you maintain that balance in your life. And one of the other things that I like to do is really celebrate milestones, celebrate small wins. Because when you recognize and celebrate achievements, no matter how small it is, it gives you a boost. And this reminds me of the scripture, laughter doeth well like a medicine. When we do good things, it really is a medicine to our spirit. When we can celebrate and smile at these milestones and share with others, it brings about a psychological boost. It brings about an emotional boosts that are necessary to keep us away from burnout. And I think Dr. Beatrice said this: stay connected to your why. When you stay connected to your why, there's nothing else that does not line up with your why that can interrupt the why, because you're so connected, you're so focused, you're so fixed on the reason you started your journey, and that's at the forefront of your mind. That's on your vision plan. That's on your vision board. That when tasks become challenging or tedious, or when there's too much happening around you, you settle yourself, you settle your spirit, and you get fixed on, this is why I'm doing this. Let me take a breather. This is why I'm here. So my mind is realigning with the why. I can get it done. I can do all things. This is possible because it's my task. Okay, I'm going to take a break here, but I'm going back to it because I've been created for this. And of course, adjust your expectations. A lot of burnout come because of our minds. We want to do so much. I think I was going to say Pastor Beatrice, Dr. Beatrice said, she talks about being realistic, and not, you have to do this by 30, you have to do this by a specific time, and you rush and do so many things, when really and truly it's for a specific time, a specific season, and the focus is going to be different in every season. So adjust your expectations. Be realistic about what you can do and what you can achieve as you pin your ears to God to hear what He requires for you in this time. Be realistic with what He's saying and set realistic goals so you can achieve what is necessary in the given time frame and avoid setting yourself back. Avoid setting yourself up for frustration. Avoid setting yourself up for burnout. If you adjust your mind, if you adjust your expectation in alignment with what God's expectation is for you for the moment, for the season, then you will be on this journey of this successful journey where burnout has nothing on you, and you're able to live that long life journey of purpose, realizing that it's not a destination, but it's not a sprint, but it's a marathon. So that last point is adjust your expectations. Let those expectations be in alignment with the expectations of God. Let His mind be your mind. Let His view be your view. Let His eyes be your eyes. Let His voice for your season be the voice that you hear and guides the execution of purpose for this season. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for these amazing points, Dr. Vicky. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm sure that, so don't ever think at any point if you're listening to us, oh, for me, I'm never going to get burnt out, I'm not going to listen. But it can happen sometimes. Before you know it, it's not because sometimes it could be because you've lost that interest in what you're doing. Other times it just happens when you have so much on your plate to handle and you be like, let me just zone out of this, like I'm tired. But just as Dr. Vicky said, you do not have to handle it all by yourself. Why exist as an individual when you can be a whole nation? If you can seek the help of trusted people, make sure you do that. And we'll definitely come to the concept of finding that right team of people to help you fulfill your purpose. Beautiful. Okay, so we've spoken about what purpose is, how we can transition from purpose discovery to purpose fulfillment. We have addressed the many challenges and obstacles that come our way in our journey to discovering purpose. Now, I would want to find out from Dr. Beatrice that now that we've dealt with all these things, what are some of the daily habits or disciplines? You mentioned the fact of building a system, building structures that can sort of be an automation to get our success or to attaining our goals. But I want to know what are some of the habits or the disciplines that we should incorporate in our everyday life to be able to actually be on a system where we are achieving our purpose at all times. Over to you, Dr. Beatrice.
Okay, that's wonderful. So no, I smiled when Dr. Vicky said Pastor Beatrice. I was like, oh, that's just by the way. Dr. Vicky, I really love the things that you have shared. I'm taking notes and I'm so excited to be here. So the question is the habits that we need to build to help us get closer to our goals. Okay, the one thing that comes readily to me is journaling. I have benefited from journaling, and that's not to say that it's an easy thing to do, especially the templates I use. I built my journaling template myself, and I built it in such a way that it would align with the goals I've set for myself in the long term. So my goal was to journal every single day. My goal is to journal every single day. So I've broken the things down in such a way that by the time I'm done journaling, I have sort of reviewed my life across all the critical areas in my life for that day, so that I'm intentional about contributing to my life, every aspect of my life, every single day. And I think that is one thing that would really, really help if we're able to incorporate in our lives. Journaling does two things. It helps you build consistency with the process of journaling itself, and also with the things that you have set out to achieve for yourself. So I would recommend journaling to anybody listening. There are so many templates on YouTube, but you can build your own template for yourself. And like I said, I use my own templates, and I'm happy to share with all of us. I mean, as many as would like the template, maybe sometime later, maybe my DMs or something. Yeah. But I would also encourage that it's something that has to be tailored just for you. Somebody's template might not necessarily work for you. So that's also that. But it's important to align it with the goals that you have, your monthly goals, your quarterly goals, your yearly goals here, maybe even your 20-year goal, your 50-year plan, and all of that. You can just find a way to break them down into small points and be accountable every single day. So I think that's one habit that would really, really go a long way, journaling. And another thing is building the right structures and routines, being able to plan ahead, be such a planner. I am happy to have friends that are so planny. They plan everything. So it just wrapped up on me at a point, and I've come to appreciate the power of planning and being excellent in planning, setting realistic goals. And that's something Dr. Vicky mentioned is very important to be able to plan ahead, plan your day. Don't leave things to chance. Be intentional about your productivity, and it's something that can really go a long way. So for now, I'll share these two things. You know, having a very strong journaling pattern, and also being a planner, planning everything. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Patrice. I'm sure a lot of people were expecting to hear these generic things, what are the habits? Okay, read a book a month, do this and that. But I always say that when you come here, you are in for something different and unexpected. Journal. Because let's start from you getting a book. Even if you don't want to write, I am always a bit old-fashioned about some of these things, but even if you don't want to write, whether you have your notebook, your laptop, your whatever thing you can put down, the aspect of journaling is so important. I think this week someone shared a post on journaling this on LinkedIn, and I was adding my voice to it that I never knew how powerful journaling was until I was going through some old stuff when I was moving to my new place. And I saw some things I wrote down like years ago. And I read it, I was like, what were you thinking? It was as if the world was in my hands. I just wrote some wild things. But then again, I read some of them and I'm like, if you can think this way, it means you saw something. It means you believe something, And some of these things just spur you on to continue doing what you're doing. So for those of you who are not fan of these things, you better be a fan. And that's just as Dr. Beatrice said, she has her own derived templates. So if you would want to get in touch with her, get the template and also tailor it towards your goals, her DM is always open. She is Dr. Beatrice Okra on LinkedIn. So you can reach out to her on LinkedIn. If you're on our community pages too, you can reach out to her through that and you get access to that. Okay, so back to you, Dr. Vicky. I want us to, in the same vein of talking about the things that can help us not just fulfill purpose, but to be on a system where we are sustaining that continual effort, that we're not just achieving purpose on Monday and not on Tuesday. There's a very important force that I want us to talk about. That is the force of mentorship. And a lot of misconceptions are out there about mentorship, right? When people come out and they say that, oh, I have this mentor, people believe that, what if I am one of a kind? And people use this biblical story that we never heard of Moses having a mentor. But we know that he had other people in his life, his father-in-law and the others, who were very instrumental. But they say that we didn't see that father figure, like the way we can say, okay, from him was Joshua, from Elijah was Elisha, but we don't see that figure. So what if I am the Moses type? What if I am the beginner type? But I want us to address these aspects. How essential is mentorship and finding the right mentors in our journey to fulfilling purpose? Over to you, Dr. Vicky.
Thank you so much for that question. And I want to start by saying that a mentor really is someone who shares their knowledge, their skills, and their experience to help us to develop and grow. So a mentor, I know some people may say, okay, I'm unique, I'm different, I don't want to follow anybody else. But it's really just their experience that inspires you, helps you to grow, and helps you to develop. And it doesn't have to be someone that's in your specific field. And it's so important. Mentorship is so important because in your journey, I'm sure that you have to, there are things that you are about to happen or things that you are about to experience that somebody else has experienced, even if it's a different circumstance, a different situation, but you learn from their experience. So mentors provide the knowledge and the insight that can help you avoid pitfalls and help you to, as you learn from their experiences. And of course, as you learn from them, it kind of speeds up your learning curve. So it's very important to have a mentorship, and finding that right one. It has to do with identifying what your needs are. There are people within your network that when you look at what they're doing, you examine how they are, what they're doing professionally, what they're speaking about, how the growth is happening. There are things that when you see them, I often say there is something that will leap in your belly. Just like John the Baptist leapt in Elizabeth's belly at the currents of at the information about Jesus coming, being born, or coming into existence. There's something about that person that will leap in your belly, because whatever they're saying, whatever they're doing is actually going to fit like a puzzle based on the things that you're experiencing, the things that you're looking to do, the areas that you want to develop in. So God, in that way, God becomes the guide. The Holy Spirit becomes the guide of that helps you. He helps you to choose the right person, because when you encounter that person, as you look through your network, as you go through Instagram, as you go through whatever network you have, there will be a leap in your spirit. And of course, there is enhanced confidence when we have mentors that we can rub shoulders with, where they can help us to see things differently, where we learn from their experiences, and when they're so humble to show us what they've been through and to tell us the story, it enhances your confidence. So mentorship is very, very important. It enhances your confidence. And some people may say, I can't find anybody. Sometimes mentors come to our lives, very, very short periods of time. Mentors come to our lives, but we don't see them as mentors because we're looking for somebody in the same field. We're looking for somebody that's doing the same thing. It could very well just be a mature, seasoned voice at church. Somebody that constantly just shares things with you, not even a professional in the area that you're in, but it's the story, it's the experiences, they're the lessons that come out of the conversations that push and guide you to where God wants you to be in your purpose, and helps propel you to the places where He wants you to get to. So having a mentor pushes you beyond your comfort zone and helps you to enhance your confidence, and of course encourages you to take on new challenges. Because when you see that person have done it, that person has done it this way, that person has achieved it, that person has come from nowhere, that person has come from rags to riches, I can see, and they have made humble steps in doing so, I am encouraged to pursue, I'm encouraged to push, and I can build the confidence that I too can become. And of course, mentors, they're there for feedback and perspective. There's constructive feedback, constructive criticism that is crucial for your growth as you pursue purpose, crucial for your personal and your professional growth. And you're able to refine, as you get feedback and perspective, you're able to refine your approaches. You're able to shift your steps. You're able to realign yourself where it's necessary and improve your skills, improve what you do in order to walk on that path of purpose. So use your networks. Identify the needs that you have for that mentor or the areas that you need to develop. Use the networks that you have, because God is going to divinely show you that person, and your spirit is going to leap when you find that person. And there are other things, leveraging social media, attending industry events. There's so many different events that we go to. We put up all these wonderful posts on LinkedIn, on social media about what we've been to, where we've attended. But sometimes the mentor that we need to follow, that we need to learn from, isn't somebody that will actually have any direct communication with us. It's just someone that may be a speaker. They might be a panelist that's actually you're there so that you can follow them on LinkedIn. And so you can read their articles, so you can read their books, so you can read their quotes, so you can learn from them and be inspired. Every mentor does not know that you are a mentee. I'm telling you, every mentor does not know that you're a mentee. There are mentors in my life that do not know that I exist, but God has positioned them to say the right thing, to put up the right post, to put the right story, to write the right article, that my life can be boosted, that I can gain clarity, that I can be lifted, that I can be aligned where I need to be aligned. And of course, as you pursue your mentors, you get the right mentor, as you develop the right mindset for getting the right mentor and so on, give back. You too will become a mentor to somebody. You too will learn some lessons and have some abilities, develop some things that you also pour in to other people. As it is freely given to you, freely pour out to other people. God bless you.
God bless you more. God bless you more, Dr. Vicky. Thank you so much. I believe that if there's anyone here who doesn't believe in the force of mentorship, this part of the conversation would certainly do them good. I love what Echo said. So just buttress your point that mentorship, there's nowhere worth going that someone hasn't gone there before or engaged that path before. A lot of people have to shift. Do I need a mentor to why I need a mentor? I agree, Dr. Vicky. Dr. Pamela Zungu says, mentors can also be amazing sources of validation and accountability. And I couldn't agree any less. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so now we've gotten to the creme de la creme, as we like to say, of our conversation today. And I've loved the flow of our conversation. I've loved how natural it has just flown and the very important points that we need to get in order to fulfill our purpose. Thank you so much. It has been a beautiful discussion for me. And I believe that for our audience, it has to. I see you, Georgia, sending all the love as well from YouTube. Okay. So I would like to ask our final set of questions to our speakers, starting from Dr. Beatrice, that in our journey, as we've been discussing all this while, there are situations where you find yourself getting distracted. And there are some times where some of these distractions feel like it's God redirecting you. And a lot of people get torn between the two because they are engaging in certain things that are distractions, but they think it's God redirecting them. So how can we differentiate between divine detours and when we are being distracted in fulfilling our purpose? Over to you, Dr. Beatrice.
That's a very good one. So being able to tell if something is a distraction as against it being a divine detour. Well, there's a story that comes to mind, my personal story. I think that was before I started my MBA program. At a point, I got an advice from someone who said, that was after I had gained admission. The person suggested, and this was out of love, I guess. Yeah, the person was just being genuinely concerned about me and said, I think you should maybe defer this program to the following year so that we can do ABCDE. And it sounded like very, very good advice then, given the logical explanations and the reasoning he gave me at the time. But I had to go back to God because I was like, okay, this is great advice. I had never thought of it this way. And thank you for bringing all these possibilities up because I didn't see them that way before. But I need to go back to my daddy. I didn't say like that to him, but in my mind, that was what was going on the whole time. And when I went back to God in prayer and in a retreat, in meditations, and also from seeking counseling from my mentors and the people that I believe that God has put in authority over me, it became clear that, this is the path I have to go. I need to do this at this time. So I just set out in the confidence that, okay, I think this is what God wants for me in this moment. And so I had to do it. So from my personal experience, I think that it's important to go back to God. Yeah. When you're faced with a period of uncertainty and you're like, now I'm seeing this better option. I'm seeing this with this thing this way that I didn't see before. So am I going to stop everything I'm doing and just, jump into this new thing. Sometimes it can border around timing. In my case, it wasn't that I had to stop the MBA, it was I had to do it at a different time. For some people, it might be doing something else. Like maybe in my case, let's say the person suggested I should do some other master's program rather than the MBA, right? So, whatever situation you find yourself in, I think one thing that would really help you is to go back to God in prayer, find out what He would have for you to do. So, then I'm sure somebody might have a follow up question. How do I know what God's answer is? And I think that it's important for us to be able to identify the voice of God. He said that when we are, that was God's word to His people at the time. He said, whenever they find themselves at a crossroad and they don't know which way to go, they will hear a voice behind them saying, this is the way, walk in it. And also, God has assured us in His word, He's a good shepherd. He hears the voice of His sheep, and His sheep also hear His voice. So we also have to practice hearing God even in little things, so that when we are faced with the big decisions, it won't be obscure. I mean, we won't be confused about hearing the voice of God. We won't be thinking, is this God or this is my intuition? Is this God or this is what or what's not? So yes, but I think primarily it should be from His word. So we should be able to discern God's voice and then, just oppose it with the word of God and say, okay, this is what God's word says about this. And I know that God being the good shepherd, He will lead us into the right decisions that we have to take in the different seasons of our life. So yeah, in navigating that period of distraction or divine detour, I mean, you have to go back to God. That's what I think. That's what worked for me, and that's what I would recommend. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Beatrice. You need to go back to God. He's the one who gave you that task. He's the one who gave you that purpose. You need to go and find out that this thing you are doing, is it in His timeline? Is it what He has ordained for you to do, or you are deviating? And this is so important. I believe that every aspect of our purpose journey is about God and must always be about God at the core of everything. I remember when we this year, the very first set of events we had in January, a lot of people were in my DM asking, how did you come by this topic? Or how come you were thinking about this? So after we had our official launch of the network from the series The Network on the 20th of December 2024, now we took a break off the Christmas and we're about to start our event. And then I was just thinking, what can we talk about? What should we talk about? I was so confused. I didn't know what to do. Right. And mostly I would love to just engage our coordinators, the board members, and ask them. I was like, okay, this is something that I need to pray about this. I remember one evening I was just pacing in my room. I was like, God, if we have to talk about anything, I want this template to come from you. I was just praying and pacing, and if I sit down, sleep may come and catch me. I had to just be pacing down and be praying. And it was like, I don't know how to describe it. The topics just came just like that. So for the month of all the 4 discussions that we had in the month of January were just topics that were just coming in the place of prayer, and were amazing. Then subsequently went on and were like, okay, what are we going to talk about this time? And that is where the balance came. I just had a conversation with an amazing mentor. It was like, okay, some of these things can be well structured. So upon deliberations and discussions with the team, we're like, why don't we fashion this in terms of a thematic approach, right? So that we don't jump from this to that, but the whole month we discuss one thing and we know that the audience are getting it. And that feedback has been so amazing, not just in the views we are seeing, because I know that our YouTube views are getting better and better because people are following the sequence of the discussion. Ask yourself, how would we have achieved this if not through prayer? So this is not just to sound sophomami-ish or religious. This is what it is, and this is what can help you. Beautiful. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Beatrice. So as we are wrapping up our conversation for today, I would like to find out from Dr. Vicky that if you had one word to say to anyone on this call about the process of purpose, about becoming what God will have you be, what would those final words be? What are your final words to us, all of us hearing you today, about the journey and about the process? And we'll come back to Dr. Beatrice and take your final words as well. Over to you, Dr. Vicky.
Definitely. Thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure being here. And I would say to everyone, embrace your unique journey with courage and openness. Because purpose is not just a destination, but it's a light guiding you. Every step that you take, it's based on purpose. Every move that you make is based on purpose. There will be challenges, but you have what it takes as you make those actionable steps to become continuously become what you've been created to be at every time, in every season, in every phase of your life. So embrace your unique journey with courage and openness. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vicky. Embrace your journey with courage and with openness. Thank you so much for those beautiful last words. Dr. Beatrice will take your final words as well.
Okay, so I really love what Dr. Vicky shared, and to add quickly, I would want to end with a quote, a beautiful quote. It says, "The future has no power to design itself. It only takes the form and shape of our actions and inactions today." So this reminds me of something a friend shared. He said the best time to have done, let's say, tree planting was yesterday. So guess when the next best time is? Now. So take action now. Don't be afraid to step out. Don't be don't be I know there are going to be questions and all of that, but I'm sure if you are going to apply the things that we have learned today, they're going to go a long way to help you. So don't be afraid. Start today. Don't postpone it. Don't keep saying tomorrow or the next day after tomorrow. What you have is today. So make do with what you have. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Beatrice. What we have is certainly today. Tomorrow is never promised, right? We believe that we will have it, but if you have time now, just do it. I tell people that I mentor sometimes that it always feels like tomorrow is a better day, isn't it? It always feels like tomorrow is a better day. If you have to get that work done, it feels like doing it tomorrow is better. Waiting till next week is better. It always feels like tomorrow is a better day. But ask yourself, what will make tomorrow different? It is what you do today that will make it different. So make sure that you are taking active steps to doing what you have to do. And I believe that is going to be an incredible journey. I have had an amazing time this evening with our amazing, as I said, today is Girls' Corner or Women's Corner, if I should say, with our amazing guests, and it has been super exciting. I want to say a big thank you to Dr. Beatrice for making time. I'm so grateful. Anytime we call on you, you are available to come. And I thank God for your life, genuinely so much for the journey we are going through and we will keep going through. God bless you. I also want to say a huge thank you. Let me just say this, by the way. So I even wore the slippers you got me the last time and my feet was dripping. So thank you for that, Dr. Beatrice. So beautiful.
My
That's a big
goodness.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vicky. I know you have a lot on your plate with work, with the magazine, with your publications, with family. But thank you for making time for your little girl. I'm so grateful. God bless you. And on behalf of the entire team, we want to say God bless you for making time. Okay, so we've gotten to the very crust of our conversation today, and I want to thank all our audience for joining in. Those who are sending in your comments, your well wishes, I would say God bless you all so, so much. We're going to meet the same time next 2 weeks from now. That is going to be on the 29th of March. That would be our crowning season for the March alignment series. And there's going to be an amazing storm next 2 weeks. You do not want to miss it. We are going to be talking about how to live, lead, and leave a legacy. Now, you are fulfilling the purpose, but it's not just about you. Purpose transcends you. So how can you live a life of legacy? How can you lead a life of legacy? And how can you leave behind a legacy? That is going to be our topic on the 29th. And we're going to have 4 amazing people with us. Yes, we are doing double for our last hour. We are going to have Mr. Francis Valnebo here with us. And for those of you who know him from our January discussion, it was amazing. So you should prepare yourself. We're also going to have Mr. Damilare Olutola with here for us on this show with us. I've been tracking him down for months. So getting him this coming Saturday, next 2 weeks Saturday, sorry, will be amazing. We're also going to have Dr. Mamidi here. Those who know her, she's an amazing lady. She's also going to be on board. And our fourth speaker is going to be a surprise. She's a storm on LinkedIn, and if you know her, you know something is coming. So be on the lookout for that. And that will be on the 29th of March, as we said. And also, we have an amazing series coming up, yes, in the month of April. So be on the lookout for that. If you see our flyers on our social media handles, please do well to share. If you are here and you haven't subscribed to our YouTube page, please do so, right? The support has been amazing. We've crossed our 300. Gradually, we are getting there. So make sure you subscribe to our page, repost it to let others know what is going on. And the recording for today's event is still going to be on our page. So you can go back to it, you can watch it, you can consume the content at any time. We're not going to take it down. It's not going to be on private view. It's going to be public for anyone to come in at any time to learn. So thank you all so much. God bless you. And we will see you same time next 2 weeks on the 29th of March, 2025. Have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.